welcome all. Let's start our revision. And last session, we have started about force and pressure. We have discussed about what is force. Force is push or pull on an object. And then we have discussed about effects of force. Force may change the motion of an object, change the shape of an object, change the direction of a moving object, and all, isn't it? And then now let's continue about pressure. What is pressure? The force acting on an unit area is called as pressure. So you have to keep in mind pressure is equal to force upon area. This formula, if you keep in mind, you can find out the definition of pressure. Pressure is equal to force upon area. The same formula you can write it in definition as pressure is nothing but force acting on an unit area. Got it? And the unit, SI unit of pressure is Pascal, and it is denoted by PA. Or you can tell unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. We know that unit of force is Newton, unit of area is meter square, therefore unit of pressure is Newton per meter square. Got children? So what you should know about pressure is equal to force acting on an unit area of a surface, and unit of force is Newton, unit of pressure is Pascal, and it is denoted by Pa. You can tell SI unit is Pascal, or you can tell it is Newton per meter square. Got it? And the effect, the pressure, it depends upon two factors. That is, the first factor is force, and second factor is area, isn't it? That is, pressure is force upon area. So pressure depends upon two factors, force and area. More the force applied and more the pressure. The same way, regarding area, greater the surface area, pressure will be lesser the pressure exerted. And on the other hand, if the area is less, then the pressure exerted will be more, isn't it? So this way you have to, so what are the two factors on which pressure depends upon? Force and area. So how it will be related? More the force applied, more the pressure. And regarding area, greater the surface area, lesser the pressure. And lesser the area, surface area, more the pressure will be exerted. And then now we'll be discussing about day-to-day examples of pressure. How pressure is useful for us in our day-to-day life. First example, school bags have wider straps. Straps, when you carry, the straps is always broader, wider. Why? Because bags you have to carry a lot of weight. It is books, isn't it? So it exerts force. So if the force applied, there will be more. And if more force applied, if it's spread on a wider area, the straps it is wider, means area is more. So what will be the pressure exerted? Less pressure will be exerted, isn't it? So more the area, less the pressure. So you will not feel that much weight. You feel very comfortable to carry heavy load. That is why school bags have wider straps. The same way, for building wire, we have to have wider foundation. Bottom, we have wider foundation, because for foundation is wider, the area will be more. So if the force applied on that wider area, the pressure will be less, isn't it? And the same way, all the cutting knives, cutting tools and piercing tools, like needle and all, cutting tools like knife, scissor, this, if you see, the edges will have a very sharp edge. If it is sharp, if you see the edges, the area will be very less. isn't it? And the same way, the piercing tools, that is needles and all, if you see, the edge will be, tip will be very sharp. Then only you can needle for stitching. Stitching can be done easily. Why? Because if the area is small, then what will be, the pressure will be more. So the force applied on the smaller area, the resulting pressure will be more, so that the cutting or stitching work can be done. Work can be done without much effort, can be done easily. That is why sharp knife and uh, this piercing needle, they have very sharp edges to exert more pressure. Got it? So area is less, the pressure exerted will be more. The same way, if you see that shoes, flatter the shoes, flat shoes, you can walk very comfortable. Isn't it? Flat shoes, it has the surface area more. So when you apply force on it, the force will be spread over wider area, so the resulting pressure will be less, so you don't feel that much pressure, so you can walk easily. On the other hand, the sharp high heels, it has very sharp tip, isn't it? And you can see that area will be very less, so if the force applied will be spread over the smaller area, then the pressure will be more, so you find it very difficult to, you can't walk comfortably with high heels shoes and compare with that flat shoes, isn't children? So this you have to keep in mind. So this may come in give reason. School, they may give that figure like this. School bag have wider straps. What this indicates? So options will be there. This option will be there. More the surface area, lesser the pressure will be exerted. Isn't it? So the same type of figure will be given and asked to write about, you can have to correlate with the effect of this about the pressure exerted. Got it? So wider straps means more the surface area, lesser the pressure. And the same way here, the first figure, the nailing, and when you hammer the head of the nail, if you see that the sharp edge, you will keep it on the wall. So sharp edge of the nail, it has very smaller area, so whatever the force applied will spread over the smaller area, tip of the nail, so that pressure exerted will be more, so that nail can go easily in the wall. And the same way, porter carrying, before they carry heavy load, what they do, they roll that cloth widely, and they keep it on their head. On the cloth they keep the load, isn't it? Because while rolling the cloth, what happens, the surface area become more, so more the surface area, lesser the pressure. So here also two types of knives are given. One is sharp knife and one is dull knife. Sharp knife means the edges, if you see edges of the sharp knife, it is, the area is small. So area small, smaller area, larger the pressure or greater the pressure. And blunt knife, dull knife or blunt knife, if you see, it exerts smaller pressure because the area, surface area is more, though, so the pressure exerted will be less. Just opposite, area more, pressure exerted will be less. If area is less, pressure exerted will be more. So pressure is nothing but force upon area, and pressure, it depends upon two factors. Force applied, more the force applied, and if you see that greater the pressure, isn't it? And more, yeah, regarding area, more the surface area, lesser the pressure, and lesser the surface area, pressure will be greater. And then if you see that even liquid also exerts pressure, isn't it? Water exerts, this last session we have learned, water exerts pressure in all the direction. If you see that same depth, you can see that first bottle, the holes are made at the same depth, so the water exerts equal pressure in all direction in the same depth. On the other hand, if you see that next figure, water pressure increases with increasing depth. And if you see that the holes at the bottom of the bottle, if the flow will be more, it cover the larger distance. Isn't it? The water comes out from the bottom hole. Why? Because the depth will be more. So the more the depth, more the pressure. So pressure will increases with the depth. So regarding liquid, you should keep in mind water exerts pressure in all the direction. If the whole made is at the equal depth, same depth, it exerts equal pressure. And on the other hand, water pressure increases with increasing depth. For the down to bottom hole, the pressure will be more compared with the top two holes of the water. And then now let us discuss about atmospheric pressure. Simple, what is atmosphere? The envelope of air around us is known as atmosphere. And the pressure exerted by the atmosphere is known as atmospheric pressure. Isn't it? And the atmospheric air, it extends up to many kilometers above the surface of the air. So you should know that what is atmospheric pressure? The pressure exerted by the air is known as atmospheric pressure. How that atmosphere exerted pressure? For pressure, what do we want? Force and area. Isn't it? Here which force is being acted? The atmospheric pressure is nothing but the force of gravity, gravitational force which act on a column of air per unit area. Got it? So for pressure, we have to have two factors. What are they? Force and area. Here, which force for atmosphere? What is atmospheric pressure? Pressure exerted by the atmosphere. For that, what do we want? Which force is acting on it? Gravitational force acting on an unit column or area of column of air is called as atmospheric pressure. And this you should know, even though our area or head, if you take about 15 into 15 centimeter, suppose if our surface area of head is 15 into 15 centimeter, and merely we should not, we don't feel that air gives pressure, exert pressure on our head. Isn't it? Actually, the air exert pressure on our head is equal to the mass of 225 kg. That much weight, that much heavy pressure is being exerted on our head. But we don't feel that much force of that atmospheric pressure acting on our head. The reason behind this, the pressure inside our body is equal to atmospheric pressure outside. That is why the balance is both. So we don't feel that much heaviness on our head. Very simple. Why don't we feel heaviness, that atmospheric pressure which is act on our head? That is the reason behind this. The pressure inside our body is equal to the atmospheric pressure outside. That is the reason why we don't feel that pressure, greater pressure crush on our head. And then what are the different ways how this air pressure we use in our day-to-day life? This very simple. By seeing this, they may give the figure and identify which pressure is being used in this. Here, that vacuum holder. So here you can see that atmospheric pressure, air pressure is being utilized in this. And why? How it can hold that heavy object? Because when you press the vacuum, that holder, the air inside the holder, it comes out, it releases out. And as there is no air inside, the pressure inside the holder is less compared with that of the atmospheric pressure outside. Greater pressure, it hold that sucker, or you can tell that holder tightly, so we can hang heavy load in it. Children, and the same way here also, which one, what is the which pressure is being used in this figure? This air pressure is being used. How we can use that suck the fluid? Because when you first suck the fluid, what we will do? We suck the air inside the straw. So if you suck the air inside the straw, there will be no pressure inside the straw. But what about that? There will be more pressure outside the straw. So this greater pressure, it pushes the liquid inside the straw. Always this air moves from high pressure to low pressure. So the liquid get inside the straw, thus helps in drinking fluids. And the same way, so children, till now we have learned about what is this, we have discussed about main concept. You should know what is force. It is push or pull on an object. Two types of forces, contact force and non-contact force. Contact force, you should know about muscular force and frictional force. Non-contact force, types of non-contact force, magnetic force, electrostatic force and gravitational force. And force, it has both magnitude and direction. The quantity of force is being explained by magnitude, isn't it? So force has both magnitude and direction. This you should keep in mind. Force has both magnitude and direction. And what is pressure? Pressure is nothing but force acting on an unit area. And the factors on which pressure depends upon force and area. More the force, more the pressure. And about area, more the surface area, lesser the pressure will be exerted. And lesser the pressure, more the lesser the area, more the pressure will be exerted. More the area, lesser the pressure, just opposite. And then we have here down, if you see that effects of force. Change the state of motion of an object, speed of an object, direction of an object, shape of an object, etc. Then pressure exerted by liquid is called liquid pressure. Pressure exerted by air is called air pressure, or you can tell atmospheric pressure. Okay, children. And now see in for your online exam, these are the different type of question will come. And for all type of these questions, multiple choice question, one question with multiple 4 choices will be there. Among that, you have to select the correct option. And for fill in the blanks, for the dash, 2 options will be given, and whichever option is correct, you have to select. The same way, what happens when, especially regarding this chemical equations, reactions and all, what happens when non-metal reacts with bases. What happens when non-metals reacts with gases? Down options will be non-metals, reaction of non-metals are very complex, or non-metal do not react with bases. Which option you will select? No, actually, reaction of non-metal with bases are more complex. That option you have to select. For children, so whatever answer, the answer will be given in the form of options. You have to select the correct options. The same way, true or false statement will be given. There will be true and false, both, whichever it is. If the statement is true, then you have to click true. If the statement is false, you have to click false. Then identify the given figure and label the parts, and observe the given figure. They will give some figure and they will ask some question regarding this. So children, the last question, identify the given figure and observe the given figure and answer the question. Let us have some quick revision of whatever important diagrams are there in that all the 3 chapters. See children, this figure is given. Observe the given figure and identify the physical property of metals. Here you can see that metals, here aluminium sheet. So what is that property called as? The property of metal by which it is beaten into sheet is called as malleability. So you have to click the answer property as malleability. And then here name the this green color substance which is found on the surface of copper vessel. You can see that green color is a mixture of nothing but copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. So that option will be there. So you have to select that option, copper carbonate and copper hydroxide. And here what physical property you can identify here? This nail is being attached and the electric bulb glows. So it is nothing but conductivity, isn't it? Conductivity, good conductor of this electricity, conduction of electricity. So that option you have to select. And here this diagram with labeling is given, so it may come for your this they may give this identify the given implement. You have to write the given implement is called plow, and name that only two labels are there, plow shaft and plow share. So they may give their hide the names, and they may give that instead of 1 2 or a b whatever it is, down options will be there. Either they may be given any other two, grape handle or plow shaft, plow share, or anything else. So which option you will select? Plow shaft, plow share. And here identify the given implement at the top on figure 1.1b. What is that implement called as? Fork. And here 4 5 labeling is there. You should know all the labeling. What are they? Grip, handle, bent plate, rod, beam. So among this, any two they may mark that as A B. A B, identify the given implement and label the parts A B. Or they may give 1 2 or C D, any way they may give. So you have to you should know the parts of all these implements. Only two implements with labeling the parts are there. One is plow, the other one is hoe. So both the diagrams labeling you should know. And now down, what is it? This implement, what is it called as? Cultivator. It is a modern method of implement, cultivator driven by tractor, isn't it? What is the use of this implement? This implement is used for plowing, leveling, etc. So it is called as cultivator. And now next one, identify the given implement and writes is use this implement. Here it is given seed drill, but you their exam without, you should know the name of this implement. This seed drill, what is the use of this? Is used for sowing seeds. That option will be given, seed drill, sowing seeds. So that option you have to select. And here this is the given figure and what for it is used, which practice of agriculture it is irrigation, isn't it? The method of practice of stage of agriculture is irrigation. And what type of irrigation it is? You can see that pipe, and everywhere what's that, the small pipes near the plant. So it is drip irrigation, isn't it? So what type of planting for plants it is useful? It is useful for plants. And which places it is useful? It is used where the water scarcity of water is there or no availability of water. So these three you should know. Type of irrigation, that is drip irrigation. For which plant it is useful? For fruit plantation, a garden. And for which place it is useful? Place where less water or there is scarcity of water is there. And here you can see that sprinkler, the splashes water or that perpendicular pipes everywhere, isn't it? And water gets sprinkles. So sprinkler irrigation. And for which plantation, which plants it is, crops it is useful? For coffee plantation. And where it is useful? Here where the land is uneven, isn't it? So this places this sprinkler irrigation is useful. So sprinkler irrigation and drip irrigation both are modern methods of irrigation used to conserve water. And here what can you see? Spray this figure indicates spraying of weedicide. What is the name of weedicide? You should know. 2,4-D is a weedicide. Weedicide should be sprayed in order to kill the weeds. It will not affect the crops. Children, so all the concept till now from all the 3 chapters we have revised. So go through all the concept thoroughly and do your exam. Wish you all the best.